Listen to me carefully, because this is not just another year, not just another season, and not just another motivational message you play and forget. This is the year every voice that counted you out will hear you say the one sentence they never wanted to hear: I'm coming back. Not maybe, not someday, not when conditions are perfect. I'm coming back now. Let every memory of failure hear it. Let every moment that embarrassed you hear it. Let every circumstance that laughed at your pain hear it. You didn't lose. You learned. And that truth alone separates you from the millions who quit quietly and call it being realistic. Statistics say most people abandon their goals early when resistance shows up, when discomfort hits, when pressure builds. But some people stare the wall in the face and decide, I'm not done. And this message is for those people, or more accurately, for the person you are about to become. Because a comeback does not start when life gets easier. It starts when excuses lose their power over your purpose. And if life feels heavy right now, if progress feels blocked, if everything feels slower, understand this may not be punishment. It may be preparation. Because there is a moment in every meaningful life that doesn't look heroic or cinematic. It looks quiet, lonely, and uncomfortable. The moment where the noise fades and you are left alone with the version of yourself you tried to avoid becoming. Where days blur into weeks, motivation fades, confidence erodes, and you are not dramatically broken, but quietly disconnected. Still functioning, still showing up, but inside something feels missing. And that is dangerous, not because you are weak, but because you are unfinished. This is where prayers feel unanswered, effort feels invisible, people stop expecting from you, and eventually you stop expecting from yourself. Life counts you out, people count you out, and slowly you begin counting yourself out too. Not loudly, not dramatically, but by slowly stopping the fight. And sometimes everything falls apart at once. Plans fail, relationships strain, momentum dies, and you ask, how did I get here? But here is the truth most people never accept. Sometimes everything falls apart not to destroy you, but to reveal you. Pressure doesn't create character, it reveals it. And when purpose is unclear, pain feels pointless, and pointless pain breaks people. This is where many stay stuck, lowering standards, shrinking expectations, calling survival peace. But something inside you refuses to die, a voice that keeps whispering, this is not how your story ends. And the hardest part of the fall is not losing things, but losing who you thought you were. The strong one, the focused one, the disciplined one, now tired and uncertain, questioning if you aimed too high or if this is as far as you go. And once you start believing you are ordinary, you begin living in ways that confirm it. Not because you are incapable, but because you are exhausted. There are seasons where your voice disappears, where silence feels heavy, where you feel irrelevant. But silence is not absence, it is incubation. And isolation becomes instruction if you don't run from it. Because some of the strongest transformations happen when nobody is watching. And here is the truth you cannot avoid. You were not built to live small. You were not designed to hide. But becoming who you are meant to be requires letting old versions of you die. The version that needed approval, the version that played it safe, that version cannot come with you. And every comeback begins the same way, not with confidence or clarity, but with a quiet decision that says, I will not stay here. You don't know how yet, you don't feel ready, but you decide anyway. And that decision does not change everything immediately, but it changes you. And once you change, everything else eventually follows. So if this makes you uncomfortable, that is good, because it means something inside you recognizes itself. You are not broken, not finished, not behind. You are in transition. And the fall was not the end of your story, it was the setup. Because what comes next is not survival, it is resurrection. And this was only the fall. The comeback starts next. The real battle does not happen outside of you. It happens inside of you. Because the moment you decide to come back, your mind will immediately push back, reminding you of every reason you failed before, every excuse that once felt valid, every fear that kept you comfortable. And this is where most people turn around, not because the dream is impossible, but because the internal resistance is louder than their purpose. And you must understand that the comeback does not begin when circumstances improve. It begins when excuses die. Because excuses feel safe, but they are expensive. They cost you your future. And strength is born the moment you stop negotiating with yourself, the moment you stop saying maybe tomorrow, maybe next week, maybe when I feel ready. Because readiness is not a feeling, it is a decision. And every time you keep a small promise to yourself, you rebuild trust with who you are becoming, one habit, one step, one disciplined action at a time. This is where your identity begins to shift, not through motivation, but through repetition. Because discipline does not wait for inspiration. Discipline shows up tired, uncertain, and uncomfortable, and still does the work. And you must reset your mind by refusing to replay what broke you and choosing to focus on what builds you. Because your past may explain you, but it does not get to define you. And you must restart your discipline by doing the small things consistently when nobody is watching, because greatness is not built in moments of hype. It is built in quiet obedience to your own standards. And you must refocus on your purpose, because who you were is gone, and who you are becoming is the threat. And this is where you stop apologizing for wanting more, stop shrinking to make others comfortable, stop living according to limits that were never meant for you. Because when you stretch beyond what you think is possible, you discover what actually is. And that discovery only comes when you are willing to risk going too far. And this is where you step across your invisible line, the line you had been afraid to cross, the decision you have been postponing, the change you have been avoiding. Because the future does not belong to the hesitant, the cautious, or the passive. It belongs to the bold, the disciplined, and the committed. And there will be moments when people call you crazy for doing too much, for caring too much, for pushing too far. And in those moments, you do not explain yourself. You simply decide to be the person who goes too far, because you are not crazy, you are called. And when you live from that place, your mind rewires, your limits dissolve, and your excuses lose their authority. And before we go any further, let me say this clearly. If this message is hitting you, if it is waking something up inside you, pause for 1 second and commit to yourself by liking this video, subscribing to this channel, and commenting what you want to hear next. Because this is not just content, this is your reset moment. And from this point forward, you are not just returning, you are rising. Not just coming back, but coming back different, with clarity, with fire, with evidence. Because the war inside you is being won by the version of you that refuses to quit, and that is the version that will carry you forward. There comes a moment in life when pain stops being something you run from and becomes something that pushes you forward. Because when life knocks you down hard enough, you are forced to answer one question: why get back up? And many people get hit, fall, and stay down, not because they are weak, but because their why is not stronger than the pain. And life will hit you again and again. It will back you up against the ropes, take your breath, shake your confidence, and whisper that this is the end. But this is where warriors are separated from spectators. Because when your why is clear, you fight differently. And history proves this. There was a moment when the world watched a man get knocked down by someone everyone feared. The count was almost over, the crowd assumed it was finished, and yet he stood back up, not because he was stronger in that moment, but because his reason to win was stronger than the punch. Because 2 days before that fight, he lost his mother, and he had a choice: to die with his pain or to live for his purpose. And that decision changed everything. Because pain either becomes your excuse or your fuel. And when your why is greater than your fear, greater than your comfort, greater than your doubt, you become dangerous. Because a man is not defined by his age, but by what he has survived and what he has fought through. And when you fight as if you have nothing left to lose, you remove restraint. You stop holding back. You stop playing safe, and you begin disrupting every limit that once controlled you. And this is why average talent with laser focus defeats gifted people who lack discipline.
Because focus compounds, effort compounds, consistency compounds. And while others are waiting for opportunity, you let your work create it. You let your effort speak. You let your discipline open doors. Because there is no shortcut around work. And you must stop overthinking, stop procrastinating, and start attacking your goals with urgency. Because this is not the time to be passive. This is not the season to sleep on your potential. This is the moment to rise. And you will get tired. Your body will collapse. Your mind will beg you to slow down. And that is okay. Rest when you must. But when you wake up, you grind again. Because now is your season. Now is your moment. And if you are waiting for someone to save you, understand this clearly. The hero you are waiting for is already inside you. And if fear shows up, that means you are moving in the right direction. Because dreams are not supposed to feel safe. And those who want comfort will never understand those who are willing to bleed for something bigger. Because some people do not chase success for money. They chase it to stop the pain, to change their family's future, to end generational struggle. And that kind of drive does not allow options. It does not allow excuses. Because when your why is strong enough, quitting is no longer available. And if you do not define your why, life will knock you out daily. But when your why is clear, you rise every time. Because you are no longer fighting just for yourself. You are fighting for everything that depends on you becoming who you were meant to be.
At some point, the fight changes because you stop proving yourself to others and start proving yourself to yourself. And that is when the rise begins. Not loud, not flashy, but undeniable. Because you are no longer fueled by ego. You are fueled by purpose, clarity, and pain that did not break you. And this is where results start showing up quietly, where discipline replaces motivation, where consistency replaces hype, and people begin to notice without you announcing anything, because proof does not speak, it stands. And you are no longer returning as the same person. You are coming back different, sharper, more focused, more resilient, carrying evidence instead of excuses. And this is where you rebuild skill by skill, habit by habit, because success is not magic, it is skill set, mindset, and opportunity aligning over time. And while others complain, you train. While others hesitate, you execute. And while others wait, you move. Because you understand that opportunity does not respond to potential, it responds to preparation. And this is where you go beyond your best. Because your best was built for comfort, but greatness demands more. It demands that you stretch past limits you once respected, that you stop asking for permission, that you stop waiting for validation, because the world does not reward effort, it rewards results. And this is where you let your work speak so loud that excuses sound foolish, because work opens doors, work earns respect. Work forces attention, and when fear tries to slow you down, you remind yourself that staying average is more painful than being uncomfortable. And this is where you break the glass cage you built around your own potential. Jump anyway and build your wings on the way down. Because growth is not safe, but it is necessary. And you will feel scared, uncertain, and exposed. And that is exactly how you know you are alive again. Because easy paths never lead to extraordinary outcomes. And while others negotiate with life, you make demands of yourself. Because this rise is not about luck, it is about alignment. And once your mindset hardens, your skills sharpen, and your discipline locks in, your identity becomes undeniable. Because you are no longer trying to become someone, you are becoming who you already decided to be.
This is no longer a season. This is an era. The era where you stop negotiating with fear and stop bowing to insecurity, anxiety, and doubt. Because when destiny calls, excuses die. When purpose rises, fear retires. And when identity awakens, limitations collapse. And this is the year you refuse to shrink, refuse to hide, and refuse to apologize for wanting more. Because you only get one life, and you are done wasting it explaining yourself. This is the moment you stand up, straighten your back, lift your chin, and declare that you are not finished, not defeated, not done. You are coming back for everything, not driven by ego, but by clarity, not by desperation, but by discipline. Because you survived what should have broken you. You walked through fire and came out with vision. You endured silence and gained instruction. And your wilderness was not punishment, it was preparation, preparing you to go places you have never been, to become someone you have never seen before. And now you understand that delay was not denial, it was design, shaping you for uncharted territory. And from this moment forward, you move with urgency, because time is short and life does not wait. And you claw your way into your future with action, consistency, and focus, fighting for your goals as if there is nothing left to lose. Because when you fight as if you are already dead, you become unstoppable. And before this ends, let me be clear. If this message lit a fire inside you, do not let it fade. Like this video, subscribe to this channel, and comment what you want to hear in the next one. Because this is not just content, this is a commitment. And if you are ready for more, if you are ready to build discipline, mastery, and an unbreakable mindset, then stay with me, because this comeback is only the beginning. This was the declaration, and the next video is where we build the life that proves it.